Welcome to the workshop. In the latest adventures of getting in this Audi, it's underneath you here, to move under its own power via electric. If you haven't seen this before, it's this channel we're attempting to get a 94 Audi 80 2-litre 16 valve, rip out its hydrocarbon guts, flog them, which we've done already, got a bit of money back from that, and then replace it with a 2012 Nissan Leaf motor, inverter, its guts, plus a 2015 Leaf 24 kilowatt pack, and and all the other bits and pieces that come along with it to get a classic from the 90s to move under its own steam, electrically under its own electricity. Apologies for the delay. It's just, who thought isolation would be so busy? It's been mental. So, but little bits and pieces have been, happening with this. Since the last one, I got the board back. That's it. I'm going to go through it bit by bit. So I got the board back. Brilliant. So built it all up. I'll show it to you in a second. Built it all up. Got the connectors in. Got the USB. I flashed with updated firmware from Damien, EVP BMW. Also got it Wi-Fi enabled with a Olimex ESP8266. So again, with the help of the forum and all that, managed to get that flash and get access to that as well. So it means I'm not just hard wiring in with a USB cable anymore. I can actually just log into it using an IP address, and you can have there's a web interface there you can log into. Not so much on at the moment, but more to be giving you feedback on state of charge and current draw and voltages and all that. So the latest firmware as well. Beforehand it was just literally press pedal and spin the motor. Now it's got a couple of extras on it. It supports the Olimex, the Wi-Fi board. It supports it's an ISA shunt. It's a CAN-based shunt, which is you can take a lot of data off, like current readings, voltage readings. There's a lot of detail in it. Actually, I'll put it all up here. There's all this you can do with this thing. Magical piece of kit, which hopefully you get in a couple of weeks. It goes in along with the high voltage junction box. I'll do a separate video on that when I'm building that, and it also supports the pre-charge and main contactor stuff we talked about before. So when you're charging, when you turn on the ignition, you do a pre-charge which takes the full 200 odd volts and basically sort of chokes the pipe of inrush of current into the inverter. So it does an initial charge up of all the capacitors in the inverter, and then you can go to the main contactor, flicks open, so you have your full. So when you put your foot in the throttle, you've got the full flow of all your juice. So that's that. Obviously talked about the Wi-Fi board. I've got nearly everything in there. I flashed the new code. There's a couple of other tweaks. I want to calibrate the throttle because the firmware that's on the board is tuned to BMW pedal, BMW 46 pedal. These pedals, these Hall effect throttle pedals, like this one here, I'll show you in a sec, have operate between just below 1 volt and 5 volts. So it's kind of like scale electrics. Remember, you're playing scale electrics. Pull it in, the more throttle, the more juice you give it, the more it goes. Same principle. There's 2 channels in there, different voltage settings, but it's kind of like, I guess it's sort of redundancy, but it gives it's 2 different variants. So one would go from say 0.5 volts up to 3.5 volts. The other one would go from 0.4 to 1.5. So the 2 different sort of scales, but it's kind of like a redundancy thing. So it's always giving you it can bounce one off the other and go, right, what is the right voltage that I'm taking in here to give the right throttle command to the inverter, therefore through to the motor. So there's so just tweaking that. I only just got a bit of good info this evening about what way I should be able to calibrate this, so that's good. Other things I've been working on as well in the background, the adapter plate between motor and gearbox. So I had kind of outsourced that a bit, but actually, like, I'm in the telecom side of things, and it's just gone bananas busy. So I taught myself Autodesk over the last couple of weeks. So now I've got a design made up with the bell housing. I'll show it to you here. I'll talk over it. Yeah, so I've got the bell housing of the Audi, the 012 gearbox, which remained unchanged for 20 years, and basically I got measured up the bolt pattern from the EM61 leaf motor, because I couldn't find a CAD file for that anywhere for love of money. So I just measured it all up on I showed pictures up on Twitter before, where I measured it up on a mill, and between that, put it all together and have that now. So I can go and actually give that to a machine shop and go, can you either laser cut, laser or water jet cut that in aluminium 20mm, and get it straight back. It'll be there. The tolerances in there probably be in with like a couple of mil. So if it is a disaster and something bolt doesn't go through, I'll just widen it out. They don't have to be, a couple of them can be threaded, but yeah, they should be all good. The coupler, I haven't really done much with that at all. I was kind of actually, my nephew, young fella, he, there's the guys actually on the forum who, it's very difficult to find the spline sizes on the motor here. But there's a couple of guys who actually measured them up, and bit of tweaking, they managed to come up with the right size. So my nephew there, he 3D printed this for me, and now I tried to fit it. Doesn't very tight fit, but the thing is, when you're 3D printing, there's the tolerances aren't as great, so it could be out by like 0.2 mil, something like that. So it is a bit tight, like I was fully expecting, but it was just to give me a sort of an idea of what it actually would look like. And yeah, it just sort of barely fits on there, but it's a good starter for 10. What I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to pick up an old Fiat Multipla 1.6 litre petrol clutch, because that at the moment by far off the shelf has very close similar spline sort of shape to what's on the motor there. So shows you that in the other video how I'm going to make it up, so I'll get to that eventually. And then the drive shafts, last thing, because I got bored one evening and I took the drive shafts out of this and went, they look manky, so I gave them a good clean down, I gave them a good spray up. So I actually I was going to put it back together, and what was it? Yeah, said treat it to new CV boots and all that, so I'm actually going to do that tonight. So yeah, let's go over there and do it. Hold your horses. Before I do that, here, I'll show you very quickly. Again, I apologise, it hasn't been, I know, like you, me, I'm really I want to be logging on here going, I want to see something spinning. And it's not happening yet. It's so close. But yeah, I mean, I'll just give you a quick look over. So the board, I'll have it now. So it's all flashed. It's flashing as it should be. Firmware on it. That's the Olimex, it's the ESP8266. Flashing away nice and green. You can log into that on an IP address, and you can actually read what information is coming both from the inverter back in here, and you should be able to feed it lovely data as well. Here's all the extra wiring harness that I had done up. So in here you've got a mix of, you've got outputs and you've got USBs, you've got inputs, but down here you've got a few throttle ground, throttle channel 1, throttle channel 2, and throttle 5 volts. They all come down to our leaf pedal here. So what you have here is, like I was chatting about earlier, basically you have two channels in this, one going from 0.5 volt up to 3.5, one going from 0.4 up to 1.5, I think. I have it all written down, I promise. So you basically have your 2 grounds here, and this is your 5 volts that feeds into the pedal, and then you have your 2 channels coming back. So this is, I think, channel 1, and this channel 2, and they both feed right back into the pedal, where it works out what's what and gives you the right numbers. So yeah, that harness all goes to the car. This harness, part of it here, all goes to the inverter, your CAN messaging and all that. And yeah, so have that, and have it all hooked up to the motor here. So I'm waiting for this to just, waiting for this to turn of its own accord, all cabled up. But for now, let's yeah, that's everything. Let's go over and do these shafts. So you might have seen the previous one, I gave them a good clean down, then I gave them a good paint up. So yeah, they're grand, no problem. Got some outer CV boots, got some inners. So let's put these together. Yep, happy with them. So that's about it for all this at the moment. I promise you there'll be something spinning next time. Promise. I'm not going to put another one until there's something spinning, until there's something going round, 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 powered by this pedal, right? So because it's, yeah, I feel like I'm cheating you with all this other stuff going. Look over here, like a magician. Sleight of hand. I definitely do want to get something, but I did do this earlier on. There's our main 12 volts. There's our switch. Goes back to the relay. And just flick the ignition. You can hear the clickety click of the relay. There we go. Yeah, so now I turn on the ignition and it works itself. Well, big whoop-de-doo. It was just connecting up a couple of wires, but yeah, that's something extra. But yeah, promise next time we'll have something spinning, because then we can really start throwing stuff into the engine bay. That's all I want to do. I want to get adapter plate, coupler, get that all in there, start getting stuff in there so you can start wiring things up. So stick with it, and thanks for sticking with me. And if you like what you see, subscribe, share it around the place. I'm on Twitter, Fear Per Cup. So yeah, spread the love.